This is the first time I am really talking about this. I am from Canada, the part where we speak French. So bear this in mind as I might have some issue with translation. Everything in English. So without calling my name a medium, I have been seeing ghosts from a young age, around 7 to 9 years old. At first time, they would appear in my room and we just talk about stuff, and at that time I was not really scared or anything. It was just normal. I kept going from there and I went on to live around 10 to 20 other encounters with paranormal activities. I am now 23 years old and I am gonna tell you about the biggest encounter with a ghost I have had. It happened in Stumber 4 to 5 years ago. I have never really talked about this since people do not really believe in those stuff and I hate them judging me for that. But then I found this and thought about opening up to strangers about my experiences. I moved down for university at that time. I was moving to a new and bigger city where I knew no one. On the end of the first week, we had a ceremony and it was held in a cottage in the woods in the north of the province. It was also my first time getting really drunk. At around midnight, they called all the freshmen outside, and there was this girl that I sensed into me. One of the seniors blew a whistle and they all got some purple hairspray out of their jackets and started spraying our hair. This girl was only aiming at me, so I ran, but I was really drunk at that time and I ended up getting outside the fences of the place we were, and without noticing, I ran for good 5 to 10 minutes in the woods without noticing that girl was not after me no more. When I stopped to take a breath, I realized I had outrun her, but that I was lost in the woods in the dark, and since I was drunk, I really could not remember which was I came running. I grabbed my phone and luckily I had some signal. It was really weak, but enough for me to text my girlfriend at that time. Looked something like that, but in French also. Bon, baby, I am lost. She called me and we talked while I was trying to find out my way to the party. I ended up seeing a light. It was the street lamp from the road. So she told me walk in one way and if after 10 minutes there is nothing then turn round. So I started walking while still talking to her on the phone. After a while I lost signal and could not talk to her. I was getting desperate and started crying. I remember laying down on the road and just falling asleep. I woke up to someone shaking my shoulder, a man in 40s to 50s. He was dressed as a soldier, but a soldier from back in the days. He had a long blue coat, was bald and had a big mustache. He told me his name was Morgan and he was the commandant of the 3rd Battalion or something like that. He then told me that he has been through the age, and he knows what it's like to be drunk, and that he would help me find my way back. Since I was really drunk, I just thought it was some strange dude walking around, and I was not really scared or anything. Here's where the strange part starts. He picked up my phone that was still on the ground. I followed him in the woods and he started texting my girlfriend. He already was speaking with some weird accent I have not ever heard before, but in Quebec there's tons of accents, so I was not really giving it no attention. As we walked through the forest, he kept texting my girlfriend and telling me that he was reassuring her. At some point, I started to hear the music and see some lights from distance. I then realized he had brought me back to the cottage. I turned around to thank him, but he was no one. I looked all around trying to spot him, and he had vanished. I looked at the ground and my phone was there, still on conversation with my girlfriend. I realized at the moment I just had an encounter with a ghost. I picked up my phone and started reading what was wrote her. I went like this: "Don't worry, damsel. I have your man under the lace. If someone misfortune happened to him, then my head is ready for slaughter." It was some old French with no mistake at all, and remember how drunk I was, so there was no chance I could have wrote something like that or even think of using some old French at that moment. I started shaking and crying. I went through the gates of the cottage, where I found all my coursemates worried and telling me they have been looking for me for past 2 hours. They brought me to a calm place and asked me what happened. I showed them my phone and saw fear and shock in their faces as they read the conversation he had with my girlfriend. I showed it to my new friends, and as usual, they were trying to find some logical explanation to it. I ended up breaking my phone the following year and buying a new phone, so lost all my evidence of this encounter. This is that. This was the biggest encounter. It is the first time I opened about one of my incidents, but it feels good telling it to people who actually believe. Again, the old French was translated online, so sorry if it does not make any sense, then it's horrible if you believe.